You're listening to the Purdy Girl Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Kelly Purdy. My mission is to connect military spouses, fiancés, girlfriends, and booty calls worldwide. So let's do this. An unintentional life accepts everything and does nothing. An intentional life embraces only the things that will add to the mission of significance. John C. Maxwell. Hi, hello, welcome back to Purdy Girl Podcast. Today I wanted to talk about living an intentional life. So here we are. This is something I am very passionate about. Since I was little, I have always been intentional with the way that I live. I'm not really sure why I've been this way. A part of me wonders if it's because, at a young age and kind of throughout adolescence, a lot was out of my control. So I think I found comfort in being intentional with my days, my weeks, months, and years. I would cling on to what I could focus on, and I would cling on to those intentions because I realized that that's how I got the results I wanted. That's how I would get the life that I wanted, was by being intentional. I've always loved the quote from Jim Rohn. He says, either you run the day or the day runs you. And I know that's just a very simple, straightforward quote, but I think about it all the time. Either you run the day or the day runs you. I find it to be so true. Because how many times have you set an alarm, but you press snooze? And it goes off again, you press snooze. Snooze, snooze, snooze. And then before you know it, you have like 5 minutes to get ready for work. You're rushed out the door and even a little late for work. You get there and you just start chugging your coffee on an empty stomach because you didn't have time to eat breakfast. You have zero water because who has time? And you're tired. So you need all the coffee with all the sugar to get through your workday. And then your boss is on your ass and pissed that you can't get to work on time. And the day has now it now has this negative cloud over it, and it's not even 10 a.m. Those days are the freaking worst, and it's so hard to move on from it. It's like a domino effect. One thing just happening after the other. And now it's lunchtime and you're ornery and starving because you didn't have time to make your breakfast since you were running out the door, and you definitely didn't have time to bring a lunch. So you decide on something that is thrice the calorie count you would have had if you just had breakfast. And you're upset and you think, well, I've had a really shitty morning. I'm just going to have 2 donuts. Now you've had your sugar-filled, like super high calorie lunch. You have some energy, but by 3 p.m., you just crash. Does that ever happen? Like that sugar crash, you're counting down the minutes till 5. 5 comes around, you're off work and you're freaking exhausted. You drive home, you think about working out, but you're like, okay, who am I kidding? All I want to do is make some ramen and binge Netflix. Now it's 9 p.m. and you've munched on like everything you can get your hands on in your house. You're watching Friends for the 100th time and you're scrolling on social media, maybe looking up old boyfriends, maybe stalking his new girlfriend. And then you fall asleep in front of the screen and boom, it starts all over again. Your alarm goes off and you hit snooze because you're freaking exhausted, right? I know this isn't everyone, but haven't we all had cycles like this before? Maybe you're in one of these cycles right now. I don't know. Maybe you're on the brink of one, which, by the way, you can break out of it right now if you want to. This is what I think of when I imagine myself living an unintentional life. No energy, no dedication, no goals, just letting my day run me. So an intentional day would look something like this. I go to bed early. I believe an exceptional morning starts the night before. So I'm a big fan of an early bedtime. Okay, so my alarm goes off and pop right out of bed. By the way, have you guys read The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins? I really like this book. It's all about how She can get herself to do just about anything when she counts down from 5. So in the book, she tells a story about how she was in one of the darkest moments of her life, very depressed. Every morning, it was so hard for her to get out of bed. Like she couldn't do it. And every night she would make that promise to herself, "Oh, tomorrow I will wake up when my alarm goes off and I will work out and I'll have a good day." Well, it just wouldn't happen until one night she was like winding down, she's watching TV, and there was a rocket about to blast off. And she heard them count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. And obviously, with the rocket, there is no hesitation and it blasts off. There is no snooze. There's no snooze button. A rocket just goes. So she thought, okay, that is how I'm going to get out of bed tomorrow. And her alarm goes off and she just thought 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. She gets out of bed and she did it. And I know it sounds cheesy. I know it sounds super simplistic, but it worked for her that morning and the next morning and the next. And now here she is. She's very successful. I mean, there are many stories of people overcoming similar struggles and even really complex struggles in the book that she writes with that simple 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule. So I'm just saying, before you roll your eyes, why not just give it a try and blast out of bed when the alarm goes off? In my opinion, there are snooze people and there are blast off people. I think how you get out of bed really determines the rest of your day. And I want to be a blast off person. To me, that is part of living an intentional life. So you blast out of bed, and because you got a full 8 hours of sleep last night, you know you have the energy to get to the gym. Now, I love a morning workout, but maybe you're an evening workout kind of gal. But for me, I like to get it in. I like to get it done for the day. I just feel like working out in the morning helps me with my mood. It helps with my anxiety levels throughout the day. So you've done your workout, you've taken your shower, you've done your hair, your makeup, you have 15 minutes to spare. So you sit down for a little breakfast. Maybe you have some oatmeal with a banana and a little almond butter. Before you head out the door, you grab your green smoothie you made the night before with spinach and kale and protein powder, and you have that as a mid-morning snack because you'll know you get hungry before lunch, especially since you had the tough workout. So you're 5 minutes early to work, you pour a cup of coffee, and you fill up your water bottle. Lunch rolls around and you're not totally ravenous since you had your breakfast, your mid-morning snack, and you head to your favorite spot and you buy a salad with lots of leafy greens and salmon or chicken, and you feel good and energized, and you're working on projects at work that are going to land you promotions. You have really good relationships with everyone you work with. You finish your workday, you get home, you're in a good mood. You decide to meet up with some girlfriends for happy hour. You feel happy, you feel fulfilled, and you head home. You make your smoothie for the next day, you take a bath to wind down, you're in bed early reading your favorite book, and you're ready for the next day. To me, that is an intentional life. You showed up for your day. Those intentional days become intentional weeks, intentional months, intentional years, intentional life. It's those little habits that add up to big results. So, how would your life be different if you decided to live just a little more intentionally? What if you were more intentional with your money and your spending? What if you were more intentional with your time? What if you were more intentional with your energy, your relationships, your social media consumption, your health and fitness? I want you to ask yourself, how could you just be a little more intentional today? What could you do today to set yourself up for success tomorrow? and have an intentional day. For me in my life right now, personally, since I'm not working, I'm just basically waiting for this baby to pop out. I do have the luxury of being very intentional. Like I have a lot of time in the mornings that I can dedicate to this, and I'm grateful for it. I wake up around 5:30 a.m. I pour my ice water and coffee, my coffee is just basically hot cashew milk and a splash of half calf coffee. Nothing crazy, but I sit down at my table. I read and write for about 2 hours. I love my mornings. I write out exactly how I'd like to spend my day. I write out everything I need to get done, and I'll schedule it into my calendar. And if it's a particularly busy day and I have to stay on track, I'll set alarms to make sure that I don't forget anything. It really, really works for me right now. I know once baby girl is here, things will shift and I'll adjust, but for now, this is just how I choose to live intentionally. And I find myself going to bed just very pleased with my day because I know that I ran the day didn't run me. I hope this was helpful for you all today. I love getting on here and just chatting about this sort of stuff. So if it was helpful, make sure you leave a 5-star review on iTunes. I'm still sending out Purdy Girl pages to the people that do that. That's just this little notebook that I've been sending out to the listeners. And I really appreciate all the love and support. So I love you, and I will talk to you guys next week. Thank you for listening to Purdy Girl Podcast. If you have a second, please rate and review and share this podcast with somebody you think would love it. See you next week.